Welcome, Sens Talk.
Here comes Travis with a pass across. He scores! He bats it in! Tim Stutzler wins it for Ottawa. Mitchell Grant is going to put the finishing touches on an Ottawa win. See you later. Go Sens, go!
Welcome to Sens Talk. My name is Brandon Plant, and I am your host tonight. The Ottawa Senators took on the New York Islanders in a game in which, look, it's still early in the year, but if Ottawa wants to be a serious playoff contender, this is one of those games they have to win, and they have to win decisively. They're at home. They're against a depleted New York Islander team, and they're coming off a brutal loss to the Buffalo Sabres on Tuesday night. This is the game to make a statement, and I will just say this. They certainly made a statement, but not the statement I was looking for. I'll just leave it at that for now. I don't want to spoil the entire video. As I just mentioned, Ottawa last game lost to the Buffalo Sabres 5-1. Not exactly the result you're looking for against the Sabres team that, let's just say, are not the creme de la creme of the National Hockey League. And that, of course, dropped Ottawa back to 500 at 6-6-0. And we're looking to bounce back from that and avoid going under 500 for the first time in quite some time this year. So, Ottawa as well has not lost back-to-back games this season. So it's all primed, to be a Sens win. Right? They're playing a team they should win against. They're playing a team that is dealing with multiple key injuries, including star forward Matthew Barzal, who's out. This is a team that has to respond after a devastating loss, frankly, to the Buffalo Sabres. It's all going to work out, right? And again, they're at home. Ottawa's 5-1-0 at home this year, 1-5-0 on the road this year. It's all coming into place, right? Everything's looking good. Oh, wait. All right. The vibes before the game even begun were a little off. Friend of the show, Jacob Bernard Docker, drawn out of the lineup as Artem Zub returns. That's great news. But Hamonic stays in instead of Jacob Bernard Docker, and that third pairing of Clevin and Hamonic returns, which easily has been Ottawa's worst pairing of the year and one of the worst in the National Hockey League. I do not understand this decision by Travis Green, the Sens head coach. Look, I'm no head coach in the National Hockey League, but if you look at the advanced analytics, or screw that. Just the good old-fashioned eye test will tell you that pairing does not do well whatsoever with one another, and that was proved again tonight. For some reason, I don't know what it is. Mark with Thought spoke about this on the broadcast and on Twitter today, talking about how some coaches, it's clearly a trust issue where they trust the veteran over the young guy. And I partially understand that. They don't want to play two rookies with one another. But I don't understand that in this context because these two rookies together have looked fantastic and far and beyond better than what we've seen, including tonight, with Clevin and Hamonic. So that was the first puzzling decision. But another one was Linus Ullmark. He didn't start this game. Anton Forsberg did. Now look, that's no slant against Anton Forsberg. Last 3 starts, 2 shutouts. Not bad, not too shabby. But Linus Ullmark's the goalie you're paying $8+ million for. That's the goalie you got to get rolling a bit as well. He missed the first part of the year. He hasn't really got into a flow. You got to get him into a flow, especially against the Buffalo Sabres and the New York Islanders, teams the Sens should be beating and decisively beating. Again, multiple key players out for the Islanders. They have to come back after a brutal loss. They have to bounce back in a big way. Home ice advantage. They haven't lost back-to-back games all year. This is the game they should win, and let's just say that was not the case. By the way, David Perron practiced today. He's back. Congratulations to him and his wife, Vanessa Perron, on the birth of their new child. It's great to see that seemingly everything's okay there. Obviously he was gone for a little bit and there were reports that something was happening. But regardless of that, it's great to see that seems to be okay. So my best wishes to the Perron family and Vanessa in particular. That it's just great to see that a healthy baby was born. And as well, Anton Forsberg, as I just mentioned, would start. And again, I don't understand the decision. Yeah, he's been fine the last couple of games, no doubt about it. 2 shutouts the last 3 games. But against the Islanders, it's not like he has a great record against the Islanders. Below 900 save percentage against the Islanders in his career. And again, look, no slant to Forsberg, 2 shutouts the last 3 games. But it does really make you think as to why the Sens are not willing to get Linus Ullmark in a role, in a groove. And again, I understand he's been fine the last couple of games, Forsberg. But, it's not exactly like the individual stats scream, you got to start him against Islanders in this game. Again, look, I understand Boston's on Saturday. He's obviously going to start on that game. But this is a guy that should be your starter. Why can't he start 3 games in a row? I don't understand why we're going with a tandem style here in Ottawa. But let's just get into the game because, I got a lot to say about this game. I've already said a lot about the lineup because, again, I don't get it. And I'm frustrated because of the result of this game, especially with the conditions we were, looking at before the game. Whether it's, of course, the brutal loss last game and whatnot. This is a game in which the Sens need to respond in. And they didn't. First period, brutal start. Embarrassing start. The first half of the first period of play, 1 shot on goal. What are we doing? You got home ice advantage. You're playing an injury-depleted Islander team with their entire left side of the defense out. Top star forward out. What are we doing? Backup goalie in. 1 shot on goal. You got to respond after, losing to the Buffalo Sabres in embarrassing fashion. Not even close. And you come out with that effort to start the game. Embarrassing. Now you could say, yeah, they look a little better. In the second half of the first period, they had 4 shots and a couple offensive opportunities, especially thanks to a power play chance. Ottawa did not generate anything in that first period, but luckily for them, the Islanders didn't generate anything either. As we go to the second period, tied at 0, that score would hold until late into the second period of play where, of course, here comes the Ottawa Senators, the late goal in the second period of play. And, of course, it's a slot goal as Horvat from behind the net feeds Anders Lee up front in the slot to make it 1-0 New York. Typical Sens. I mean, what do you expect? Them to cover the slot after 4 years of us screaming to cover the slot? Nah, that makes too much sense. Moments later, Jake Sanderson bobbles it in the neutral zone. And you know what? I love JG, but not here. JG Pajot streaks in and puts it past Forsberg. 2-0 on the partial breakaway. This was a really frustrating goal because Claude Giroux, there was a missed penalty on him just before. Now, that's not an excuse. You got to play in the conditions you're in. They didn't call the penalty. You got to play that full, play. And again, Sanderson bobbled that puck, which was not great. But the ref was right there. And let's just say the refs tonight were on one. They missed some key calls. Really, Greg in the third period got a high stick. Giroux literally got ran into the boards in the third period. Only a minor was called. I mean, the refs tonight were absolutely disgraceful. But again, the Sens have to win regardless of the refs. Not blaming them, but I'm making a comment because they were brutal tonight. And that was just one example of that. And, of course, it cost the Sens 2-0 Islanders after 40 minutes of play. Now, look, that second period was no doubt better than the first period. But I don't care about these little moral victories. Who cares? No one cares. They didn't score a goal. So who cares if they outshot the Islanders in the second period? I don't give a damn. They didn't score. So we go to the third period. Ottawa, after 40 minutes of play, is 0-5-0 when trailing after 40 this year. Not looking good after, all the things I mentioned before the video. Key injuries, a vengeance-style game where Ottawa has to make a statement. Things aren't looking good, and things would continue to look terrible for Ottawa. Just a few minutes into the third period of play, Travis Hamonic caught behind the net. Sens can't recover. Wallstrom strikes early in the third, and the Islanders, they're running away with it now. It's 3-0 for the Islanders, for the Fishermen. That goal there, it's just a typical Sens defensive breakdown. Definitely particularly there on Hamonic, who was brutal tonight. And again, I said it in my last video, I don't want to be overly harsh on Hamonic. Tonight, I'm going to be because he was specifically put into the lineup over JPD. The spotlight is on him to prove that that was a good decision. And his play tonight proved that was not a good decision. Just alone in that third period, I tweeted this out during the game. There was an offensive zone opportunity where Ottawa, they were responding after one of those Islander goals, and they finally got into the offensive zone, and Hamonic was on the ice, okay? And the puck went to him a couple of times. This is what happened within 30 seconds. Ottawa was trying to regain some momentum, push back, and maybe even get a goal. Hamonic, the puck comes to him. We're not going to hold it. We're not going to just play with it and try to get guys open and get a play going. We're going to take a shot through 5 guys. Obviously, that one's blocked and cleared, but of course, Chabot, the blue line merchant he is, keeps it in. Chabot, they play with it a bit, gets back to Hamonic about 15 seconds later. Errant pass, completely wide of Chabot, almost goes the other way for a breakaway. That alone just shows how he's a play killer. He killed the offensive zone play and drive there. And again, Hamonic is fine to play a game here and there, but he should not be starting. He should not be starting every night if this team is a serious playoff team, especially over a young talented player, no offense to Hamonic, a young talented player like Jacob Bernard-Docker, who has proven that not only he's better than Hamonic so far this year, but can perform better with the defensive partner in Tyler Clevin. So that is incredibly frustrating. But as we all know, the cardiac Sens like to give us a bit of cardiac arrest, God forbid, but they like to, create some suspense late in these games as Nick Jensen gets a goal here to cut the lead to 2, his first as an Ottawa Senator. A nice play from Tom Chabot, who frankly has looked really, really good this year. Almost every game he's been dancing. That pairing has looked fantastic. He draws a couple defenders towards him. Jensen picks up on this, streaks through the lane there on the right hash mark, and then waits out Varlamov, puts it past him and in to cut the lead to 2. And then a few minutes later, this was after Giroux was slammed into the boards. Ottawa gets a power play, and Drake Batherson would score on the power play. That, by the way, this is his 5th career game against Varlamov. 4 goals against Varley. I don't understand it, but I love it. As Ottawa cuts the lead to 1, it's now 3-2. Hey, you know what? Negative Brandon, you gotta relax. Here come the Sens. Oh, wait. We all know what happened, so calm your horses. But Ottawa at this point of the game, they're finally making a push that they should have made from puck drop. 3-2 game. Nice move out front of the power play there for Drake Batherson. 13 points. 13 points in 12 games. Not too shabby. And that snaps the Sens 0 for 14 power play drought. But that would be it. Ottawa in the final couple of minutes, they would outshoot the Islanders 9-11. They would be doing a far better job at driving the offensive play. They were playing with urgency. They were playing with passion. They were playing with desperation. But it wouldn't be enough as Islanders would score into the empty net and hold on for a 4-2 victory to take the 2 points as Ottawa, yet again, is too little, too late. Now, where have you heard that story? Probably the last few games, probably the last few years. That has been the story of the Ottawa Senators, and it's just so aggravating at this point. I don't even know what to say, The lack of passion from this team tonight was so disheartening. I said it last game against the Sabres. Let's see how they respond. If they don't respond and they play a lackluster BS type game where they don't really show passion and they don't show heart over hype, to use their slogan, then 1, you should be concerned, and 2, you should be angry. I'm both. I'm concerned and I'm angry. What the hell was that tonight? No urgency from puck drop. You're at home in front of your fans paying a lot of money to watch you. Okay, that enough should be urgency. But you just lost to the lowly Buffalo Sabres. Sorry, Buffalo fans. The lowly Buffalo Sabres, 13 years in a row they haven't made the playoffs. Looking to be 14 after this year. Again, sorry Buffalo fans if you're watching this. It's just the truth. That's the team you should have beat. Tonight, that's the game you should have responded with. And they just didn't. So, again, I'm left puzzled where was that passion? Where was that drive? Where was that heart over hype from the final few minutes? Where was that from puck drop? That should have been the style of play from puck drop right away. The Sens should have been all over the Islanders, and the Ottawa Senators should have been making the Islanders pay. Not because they deserved to pay, but because they were angry, and they knew they could have done better against Buffalo, but apparently not. Apparently not. Now that's Ottawa's 5th regulation loss in the last 7 games. That is, again, doesn't take a hockey expert to realize, not too good. Not only are we losing games, we're not even getting points out of these games. So, again, we got the Boston Bruins coming up on Saturday, big game. We got the Leafs coming up on Tuesday. These were the easy games. Now we got some tough games coming up. So, just a really, really brutal loss tonight. I don't give a damn what the final score says. I really don't give a damn about that third period comeback. Because it's, again, too little, too late. And the final results are all that matters. Not the little victories. No, who cares about the little victories? I care about the real victories. The 2 points. And we got 0 tonight. So where's the heart? I'm still wondering. I'm sure you are too. Because we've seen this team play with passion. But it's so disheartening how time and time and time again, the Ottawa Senators don't play with any passion until it's too late. And they just come up short. I don't know how, as a fan anyways, that infuriates me. I don't know how, and I'm sure it does. For players, I'm sure it infuriates the guys in that room. So why does this continually happen? No matter the coach, no matter the GM, no matter anything, it just continually happens with this core. That, to me, is the biggest concern. How do you not respond after a game like that against Buffalo with an absolute dominant win tonight against the Islanders? And a game where you frankly should have dominated. I mean, the Islanders, again, I said it multiple times. Injury depleted. They're not exactly doing great this year. Their top scorer is out right now. I mean, they should have won this game, and they didn't. So, again, their next Sens game is going to be on Saturday, as I mentioned, against the Boston Bruins. Ullmark obviously will start in that game. I would expect Ullmark to go off because he's playing in Boston. He's going to want to put on a show, and hopefully he does, because that is what Ottawa is going to need to get back on track here. Again, that 5-on-5 play, not good enough. They're not generating any goals. And again, I mentioned it in my interview the other day with Alex Adams of Sportsnet, where the power play is going to slow down eventually. 0 for 14 until tonight, okay? That power play is not scoring at a 50% clip, as it, of course, was never going to. It's never going to last that long at 50%. Of course, it was going to drop down. It has, and Ottawa now really needs to figure out how to score 5-on-5, because as Alex Adams mentioned in the interview the other day, you play the majority of the game 5-on-5. You got to score 5-on-5, and the Sens are just not scoring enough 5-on-5. So with that, I'm not gonna rant for much longer. I'm just really frustrated and annoyed. So again, am I concerned? Yep. Am I really, really frustrated? Yep. Am I angry? Yep. Am I devastated? No, because again, a lot of hockey left. I still have faith we can turn it around, but we got to do that, and we got to do that now, because again, big games coming up against divisional teams. You got to win those, especially after losing these last 2 winnable games. So besides that, thank you all for watching. Let me know what you think in the comment section down below, as always, and I will see you all very, very soon. Go Sens, go.